The year is 1918. Europe blades, scarred by the Great War, a shadow far more sinister is stirring. It began subtly, whispers in military hospitals, a strange pneumonia afflicting young healthy men. They called it Spanish flu, a misnomer. Spain, neutral in the war, simply reported the illness without censorship. The virus H1N1, a relentless predator, traveled with soldiers across oceans and into unsuspecting towns. The first wave arrived in spring, a mild discomfort, easily dismissed amidst the chaos of war. But the respite was brief. The second wave, a brutal mutation, descended in the autumn with terrifying speed. Its hallmark, a horrifying cyanosis, victims turning blue as their lungs failed. Hospitals overflowed, doctors overwhelmed, their faces etched with exhaustion and despair. Makeshift morgues appeared in public squares, a grim testament to the escalating tragedy. Entire families succumbed, leaving behind empty homes and shattered lives. Children, often the most vulnerable, fell prey to the insidious infection. The vibrant streets of cities became eerily silent, the laughter replaced by the tolling of bells. Quarantine zones were established, attempting to contain the invisible enemy, but to little avail. Public gatherings were banned, theaters closed, the joyous spirit of life extinguished. Simple remedies, useless against a viral assault, were peddled as miracle cures. Masks became a ubiquitous symbol of the era, a desperate attempt at protection. But the masks offered little solace against the relentless spread of the disease. The disease didn't discriminate, striking rich and poor alike, soldier and civilian. The death rate was staggering, dwarfing the casualties of the war itself. The sheer scale of the devastation defied comprehension, a silent epidemic sweeping the globe. Even the mighty empires felt the sting of this unseen foe. The war effort faltered as soldiers succumbed to illness, disrupting supply lines and morale. The silence in the streets became deafening, broken only by the mournful cries of the bereaved. The world seemed to hold its breath, waiting for the storm to pass. But the storm raged on, claiming victims relentlessly, leaving an indelible mark on humanity. The sheer speed of infection and mortality baffled medical professionals. Limited understanding of viruses hindered effective treatment. Misinformation and folklore spread, complicating efforts to contain the virus. Public health measures, while attempted, were often insufficient and inconsistently enforced. The economic impact was profound, disrupting trade and causing widespread hardship. Families were torn apart, leaving countless orphans and widows. The war's wounds were reopened, the trauma compounded by this new, invisible threat. The vibrant tapestry of human life was frayed, its colors muted by sorrow. Some communities banded together, offering solace and support in times of desperate need. But even acts of compassion couldn't stem the tide of sickness and death. Religious faith was tested as believers questioned the meaning of such widespread suffering. The weight of grief pressed down on the entire world. The summer of 1919 brought a gradual decline, a glimmer of hope in the darkness, but the scars remained, etched deep into the collective memory. The world slowly began to rebuild, but the innocence of 1918 was forever lost. Scientists began to study the virus, laying the groundwork for future pandemic preparedness. But the lessons learned were often forgotten in the rush to return to normalcy. The experience fostered a sense of global interconnectedness, however brutal the means of connection. Art and literature reflected the tragedy, attempting to capture the scope of human suffering. The pandemic reshaped public health infrastructure in many nations, but the fear lingered, a silent shadow in the corners of the mind. The memory of the blue faces haunted the dreams of survivors. The pandemic served as a stark reminder of humanity's vulnerability. The economic disruption stunted growth and exacerbated existing inequalities. New social safety nets were explored, albeit hesitantly and incompletely. The war-weary world sought solace in art, music, and newfound freedoms, but the joy was tempered by the knowledge of what had been lost. The world entered the 1920s, the roaring 20s, but the echo of silence remained. The pandemic was largely forgotten by the general public, relegated to the history books, yet the seeds of future pandemics were already being sown. The world learned, but would it remember? The question hangs heavy in the air. A century later, the lessons of 1918 remain a crucial warning. The unseen enemy can strike again, silently, swiftly, and without mercy. May we never forget the sacrifices made and